Good morning, friends. It's Nicole Martel with a cherry on top. Today I'm sharing how I made these beautiful cards. I'm actually only going to make one using the orange ink from Pinkfresh Studio. They have a 4-cube set that complement each other very nicely. And to begin, I just tore a cardstock, white cardstock in half and added that to my Misty. And I'm going to actually be using these. I was going to use the blues because I did use those yesterday just as a test run, but then I decided I'm just going to go and do the orange right now. I love the orange. I think it's just summery and pretty. And the stamp set that I'm using today is Nothing But the Best by Pinkfresh Studio. I love the cluster of flowers, and it's just so pretty. And so I'm going to just stamp this down using the black ink. And I'm going to be doing this 3 times just to make sure that I get a nice crisp print. And so if I had a larger ink pad, it would have gone a little faster, but I just couldn't find it. So this is what I ended up doing. And so I'm just dabbing it. And it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay, because when I'm done shading in the colors using the stencil set that can be bought with separate, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again. So if you're following along, leave the stamp pad where it is and just keep working inside the Misty. And so I'm going to go ahead and tape this down. This is the first stencil, and I'm making sure that the black lines are inside the stencil so that everything blends nice and even, and there's no colors that will go outside the lines. And then I'm dabbing the ink right on the stencil, and then I'm literally just pulling it through the stencil and rubbing it in circles just so that I get a nice airy blend. And you'll see that. So I'm just lifting it from the stencil into the flowers so that you get, it's just nice and even and there are no blotches. And then wipe that down, and then I'm going to go move on to the second stencil, and then I'm actually going to use the second shade of orange, and I always like to work from light to dark, so if you were wondering. And then I literally just dabbed it on the stencil, and I'm moving it through the petals or the center of the flowers. Quick and easy. I love the stamps with the stencils. It just makes card making so easy and fun, and it looks like I'm a pro, and I'm not. And I'm going to go ahead and line the third stencil up here, making sure that the black lines are inside so that there are no bleeding outside the stencil. And then I'm just going in circles, and I'm trying to do light-handed, but I actually did a little heavier than I had planned, but that's okay. It's still going to look beautiful. And then I cleaned the stencil off, and I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves, and I'm just making sure it's lined up correctly before I tape that down. And now I'm going to go ahead and blend the ink in. And then all the products that I'm using today will be linked in this description in case you wanted to check them out. Add a cherry on top. I'm going to go ahead and blend, and I'm just going around like in circles through the leaves, nice and even. I love this color. It's just so pretty, the sage. So pretty. And now this is the last stencil. I'm going to line this up and tape that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply the ink. This is slightly darker, which will bring in out the little leaves, all the details. It's so pretty. I just love this so much. My favorite color is blue, but I really like the orange better than the blue. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down. And there's my flower. And I'm actually going to go ahead and, like I said before, apply more ink before I move anything. out of the Misty, and you'll see how nice this looks. And look, I mean, the details are so crisp and just beautiful. So now I'm going to go ahead, I have the metal dies, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And I have a metal plate, so it's magnetic, so I don't need to tape anything down. I'm just going to line it up, make sure it's lined up good, and then place it down there and run it through my scissors. And I'm just going to run through twice. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this out. And one corner got stuck, so I had to cut it a little bit, but it's still okay. And I guess I didn't have enough pressure on that. And then I'm poking through the white spaces out of the flowers. And now I'm actually going to cut out some panels for the background. And I have a trick that I discovered this weekend when I was playing. So I placed down two A2 panels onto the panel, okay, the die, and then I ran it through. And so what I have here is I have two cuts. One cut has the diamond holes in them, which is pretty, but I also like the embossed effect. So I'm going to be working with the embossed one. Isn't that neat? Like, that's something I just tried this weekend, and I was like, this is neat. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and tape down the card base, and then I'm going to blend around the ends of the card so that when I do place down that panel, there'll be a nice little edge around the card. It's a little blotchy. I went a little deeper than I wanted, but it doesn't matter. It's just the whole point is to add a little bit of color to the card. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the center of the card base. Alright, I'm going to put this down. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop the flower up using foam strips. I'm just going to cut these out and just add them everywhere on the back of there, just to add dimension. And I like the rolls because I can just cut them how I need them. And I also like the strips too, the real thin strips. So if you're wondering, they're available in the shop. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and find a sentiment. I have been making birthday cards all weekend, so I'm looking for something birthday related. And something that will be just the right size for that. So I think I'm going to go with birthday hugs. I'm going to use some more foam strips for that. And then I'm going to place that down. And I'm being careful not to cover all the small little flowers on the bottom, because I want to add some gems in there. So that's why I chose to place that sentiment where it is. I don't want to cover the flowers any more than I need to. And then I'm going to glue down the little orange glitter dots. These dots are so pretty. I love them. And I have every single color. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. And I'm making sure I flip them right before I glue them down. So it just takes a little bit of time to get these down, but it's worth it. And I'm so meticulous, so when I filled in the petals, I wanted to add some more, and I had the hardest time figuring out where to put these things, but in the end, I love how it turned out. This one turned out a little bit darker, the orange, from the one I did yesterday, but that's because I went a little bit heavier on the hand, but that's okay. It's still soft and airy, and it looks so pretty with the green. Alright, so I'm just gluing down these little gems, and I think they look so pretty. And there we go, I'm almost done. And just a little bit of glue works, just little dots And that is pretty much all you need. And I'm going to go ahead and add these here. And I just love this. I hope you like this as much as I do. And thank you so much for visiting. Take care.